Welcome back to the GameShow Global Esports Cup CIS Region Playoffs. Whoever wins this best of 5 has a ticket towards Vilnius for the studio LAN of the GameShow Global Esports Cup. A lot on the line for both of these teams. Whoever loses, I'm pretty sure goes home. I don't think there's a second chance for them. Team Empire looking hot in game number 1. It really was just a situation where Team Empire were never forced out of their comfort zone. Scary Faces had a draft that wanted to get aggressive, get initiations with Slaughter, find pickoffs with the Wind Ranger, and in general control the map that way. But it was always Team Empire to have everything under control. We're farming on Queen, we're farming on Darkseer, we're getting farm on Sven. Everything's lining up perfectly, and Scary Faces go for a couple of hands of Midas. They recognize that things aren't working well for us. We need some way to stay even on farm. The hand of Midas on like the Silencer and on the Slaughter in game number 1 just wasn't enough, as we already have some very potent combinations to open up this draft for game number 2. Scary Faces, especially with this Slaughter now, need to make sure that Team Empire aren't able to just play their passive game and farm up. Traditionally, you probably would have looked for resolution on the Shadow Fiend, but today it's more than likely going to be General. We've seen General wreck face on Scary Faces' side when playing the Shadow Fiend. It's a really terrifying opener that's hard to punish. Even if you kill off the Shadow Fiend pretty early and often, if you give him any sort of room, the Shadow Fiend will come out of the woods with like a full S and Y. I killed the Shadow Fiend like 5 times, why does he have farms still? Well, it's because he has so many good defensive supports behind him, opening up with the Earthshaker to start things off for Team Empire. Scary Face's combo is by no means bad either. Slaughter and Dazzle is incredibly potent with the amount of minus armor they have. Is that enough to pressure the Shadow Fiend? By itself, probably not, but now we're going to see Beastmaster slip through the pool, the next selection for Scary Faces. Beastmaster's a good hero that benefits when in a minus armor strategy, even though he's not going to be bringing much minus armor to the mix usually. Beastmaster is going to have a lot of physical damage, either through himself and the Necronomicon summons, which he'll probably be building this game, and then the attack speed auras. The stacking attack speed auras between the Necronomicon and the Inner Beast make everybody hit so hard, and Roshan is going to be dropping in just a matter of seconds for Scary Faces if they ever get any sort of room. It's another situation where Scary Faces are reliant more on this pickoff style of Dota with the Beastmaster and Slaughter as the main initiators here. But I think this is a better way for Scary Faces to go about that strategy when you have the Beastmaster Hawk to scout out. Also, the Dazzle's Weave is pretty good at doing that to get high ground vision if you think that there might be somebody waiting for you, and then you just get the jump out of nowhere. Feels very synergistic and tight. For Empire now, Earthshaker and Shadow Fiend is a very self-contained duo. What are they going to follow this up with? We saw Resolution's Darkseer in game number 1 with a couple of really good initiations. There was that Dream, like the Darkseer, Sven, Queen of Pain, Winter Wyvern combo. And both of those heroes are going to be banned out by Scary Faces. So something a little bit different from game number 1. Using a lot of the reserve time. Team Empire, I believe they're still all here. Although there have been some disconnection issues. Not for Resolution, the current drafter, or the one that's pressing the button at the very least. It's going to be a Naga Siren for Team Empire. There are so many ways that this Naga Siren and Earthshaker can disrupt the team fights. Who knows if this is going to be a Naga Siren core or a Naga Siren support, though. I think the real selling point here in either of those situations is that Naga Siren is going to have a good amount of armor, and in general is going to build in such a way that you're going to amplify that for yourself. Like a medallion if this is a support, or even go for the mechanism for the team if Shadow Fiend doesn't pick that up. But it's the reset after the Slaughter Beastmaster initiation with the Song of a Siren, and also the scouting from the illusions. It's really going to make this an attractive pick for Empire. I think they could have gotten this later on in the draft, though. We'll see. Still leaves their options open. Templar Assassin the pick for Scary Faces, and Gyrocopter for Team Empire. Naga Siren as a support tends to be a little bit on the damage light side, although she can trade hits. Mostly that's due to her absurd armor, and against the Beastmaster that's usually not enough. But now with the Gyrocopter, they have a lot of ways to set up for this Rocket Brush, either through the Earthshaker or through the Naga Siren. Both of which not amazing, and I really do like Scary Face's lineup this time around. I think that Team Empire, although I think they'll be able to execute this to near perfection, Scary Faces are in a situation where they have a lot of ways to abuse farm on the map. Templar Assassin and farm stacks in the woods and in the Ancients. A massive amount of minus armor synergy for themselves. Good amount of initiation. And if they ever get a kill, transitioning into map objectives is going to be really easy for SFZ. Templar Assassin with the Desolator, Slider with the Amp. I've already talked about how good their Roshan lineup is, and now it gets even better. But also taking down the towers. Between Desolator and the Beastmaster summons, they have a lot of tower damage too. Team Empire need to make sure that Scary Faces, again, aren't able to snowball themselves to victory and aren't able to pull Empire out of their comfort zone. Team Empire still have an amazing high ground defense and pretty darn good late game. This is just not as clear a late game victory for them as it was in game number 1 with the mass amount of team fight we saw in that first showing from Team Empire. Now for Scary Faces, probably lacking another one of their supports. Rubik gets special mention here as, in general, just a disable for Scary Faces, and stealing Fissure is amazing. Rubik has fallen out of popularity quite a bit, but I think this is a decent game to bring him back. If not for that Rubik, there's still plenty of options for Scary Faces. Nagasarn and Earthshaker are a fairly greedy supporting duo, and if Scary Faces really wanted to, I could see them getting away with the jungler. I would not be opposed to an Enigma at all for Scary Faces. Maybe with the Naga Siren Song and the long-range ways to cancel Black Hole, that's a little bit less attractive, but still the pushing power that you get from Eidolons would be amazing. Or even a Chen. Just a jungler in general for Scary Faces could work this game. Team Empire, I said that Earthshaker is probably a support, and that's because it usually is when you have the Earthshaker Shadow Fiend as a duo, but maybe Team Empire throw the Earthshaker into the offlane and pick up another support. It's going to be an Ogre Magi for Scary Faces. A little bit more on the aggressive roaming side, but I like it. A beefy frontliner, and in general an aggressive pick that synergizes well with the timing window that Scary Faces want to get moving. This will help them start the aggression out of the gate and maybe set for a couple of early kills with the Slider, especially if that is an offlane Earthshaker for resolution, probably. If they do decide to go for that, could be very difficult for Team Empire to keep him safe. I really like the Scary Faces draft this time. It looks like we might be starting out 1-1. Now, how do Team Empire shake up the Scary Faces strategy? A lot of it does come down to the usage of Naga Siren's song. A crucial component of Team Empire's draft that might absolutely make or break this game for them. The other thing that's going to make this game for Team Empire is if they can get this Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend a lot of farm, and Clockwork's going to be the selection for Empire, Resolution going to be handling that. Getting solo kills isn't going to be super easy for the Clock, but the idea here, just as an initiator, is really good for Team Empire, and another one of those disruptive forces. Going into this game, let's introduce our teams on the Radiant side. Team Empire, Resolution on the Clockwork, General going mid on the Shadow Fiend. Usually where you'd expect Resolution to be if you've been watching Empire as of late. But with this new lineup, there have been changes. Silent is going to be on the Gyrocopter, Earthshaker handled by No Fear. And that'll be Naga Siren. I think that's Aloha Dance, but maybe it's Yoku. I think that's Aloha Dance, just based on the profile picture alone. And based on the roster that they put up on Twitter earlier today. On the flip side of the coin, Axmo will be the Beastmaster. He's been having a lot of success on this hero as of late, and inside the Global Esports Cup too. Shadowy on the Ogre. Templar Assassin is going to be handled by their stand-in Meow. Dazzle will be played by Artstyle, and Slardar is going to be played by RMN. Yeah, as I said, I'm pretty sure this is Aloha Dance in the Naga Siren. Not 100% sure, though. Empire, going to be going down to the bottom bounty rune to pick that up for the Shadow Fiend. And he might actually get the Hawk. Uphill miss, and the Hawk isn't going to get last hit yet. If Shadow Fiend can get this, that's a nice early soul for him. Usually feeding over that Hawk is just going to be a minor nuisance for the Beastmaster, a little bit of gold towards the enemy team, but that extra 2 damage is very significant, especially against a Templar Assassin. A matchup that traditionally Shadow Fiend tends to struggle with a little bit more if he doesn't get the early souls. He'll get the bounty rune too. Starting out with 170 gold, will ferry out a salve. He's probably going to need it. The Templar Assassin will be able to more quickly rush her bottle. Doesn't have to fully commit for the Wraith Band to still have an advantage against the Shadow Fiend in damage. A lot of emphasis will be put on the mid lane. Ogre Magi going for the Courier Snipe. One hit, not lethal. Can he get it? Diving the tower, Ogre Magi. I admire your attempt, but I don't think it's going to succeed. Run, Courier, run. It's going to be fine. I think so. Shadowy wants it. He wants it so bad, he's not gonna find it. He's gonna bump into No Fear instead, and he can't solo kill the Earthshaker. Still, because he's an ogre, he can get away with that rotation because he is just so stupidly tanky. They beat him after taking a couple of tower shots. After he eats one more tango, or one tango, excuse me, is almost back up to full. With this constant nuisance in the mid lane, just that extra spam of the Ignite is going to annoy the Shadow Fiend. But it's not CSing poorly at all. 3 and 2 compared to 1 and 4. Templar Assassin does have a pretty significant deny advantage over General, but shutting down the Shadow Fiend, as I already mentioned in the draft, is going to be very difficult. The other lane's also pretty interesting for Scary Faces. They'll put the Beastmaster solo against a Gyrocopter Naga. This is not a bad lane at all for Axmo. And I think this Beastmaster should be able to get a decent amount of farm, but still, a lot of focus is going beyond mid. The Clockwork can't do that much up top lane. The Slaughter will mostly just free farm, with the Dazzle zoning out for him. And it's all about whether or not the Shadow Fiend and Templar Assassin are going to get an edge over each other. With a raise, the Shadow Fiend is not too far behind the TA, and taking another Sideblade shot, will still get that CS and has the salve, with one tower shot being tanked by the Templar Assassin. General will now be sitting at 6 and 3. For a Templar Assassin versus Shadow Fiend, this is a pretty happy spot to be for General. But the bottle's coming out for the Templar Assassin faster than it is for the SF. She'll be able to spam out her refractions a lot more than he's able to spam out his raises. Running through those charges, General's able to post up pretty aggressively and now has a much more comfortable hold on this lane. The killing potential across the board, though, feels pretty low unless somebody makes a major error. This Clockwork trading against the Dazzle, not effectively, though. Only level 1 on the clock. Artstyle's really been doing a good job at zoning him out. Clockwork's a hard offlaner to zone, naturally pretty tanky, has the cogs to pull the creep equilibrium back, but that just hasn't been enough because the Dazzle has pulls and all manner of ways to keep him out. And now with Shadowy here, there's no way for Clockwork to get experience in the lane. He's going to go all the way back towards base. He was too low, didn't have any way to sustain. Clockwork, unlike a lot of other offlaners, can't really back off into the jungle. I think he should be able to return to this lane and still get experience. It's not like his laning stage is over, but it is a lot harder. General playing defensively on the right side of this ramp isn't going to get jumped by the Ogre. We'll throw an Ignite his way. And again, Shadowy's able to get away with this, but not shutting down the Shadow Fiend's farm. In fact, Outlast hitting ever so slightly the Templar Assassin. Not once this next creep wave comes in. It's so close to even. So close. The really big deciding factor as to whether or not either of these heroes are going to be able to get an advantage is whether or not their stacks are blocked or whether or not their stacks are created. Right now, the Ancients aren't being stacked up for the Templar Assassin. Might be something you're interested in doing in the future, and Ogre Magi just going to casually scout out. It's always fun to see Ogre Magi be able to position this aggressively. He's going places that no other melee support without an invis spell, usually it's Bounty Hunter that's going to be able to scout those stacks like that can do, just by nature of how tanky it is. And now he's going to make that stack for Templar Assassin. Clockwork top lane is going to get slowed down. Only level 2. This Clockwork does need to be careful. Cogsing in the Dazzle, winning that damage trade with the heal and the Poison Touch. As the next set of runes are going to come out. Ogre Magi steals the regeneration rune out from under the nose of the Naga Siren. Both are runes secured by Scary Faces. Templar Assassin getting the top rune. This early game feels like it's going slightly better for SFZ, especially because the Beastmaster is able to get a lot more experience than the Clock. Still not a huge amount of farm, but a lot more experience at the very least. Shadowy, Vision under tower. It's only level 2 raised, and they'd already thrown out the medium one. Killing off that Ogre was probably not a possibility for Empire. And they really don't want to overcommit either. Empire playing things slow and steady because that's kind of what they want to be doing for a large time inside this game until their Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend get their items up, or at the very least get higher levels. Gyrocopter at level 6 could in theory make a rotation towards the Templar Assassin, but I think Silent would much rather just keep on farming in the bottom lane. One of the big things that's going to break the status quo is the Blink Dagger on the Slaughter. He's a quarter of the way there, near enough. But it's going to be a while. We're in for another passive early game. Naga Siren going to make a pretty big stack. I don't think that's going to succeed any further, but it is a very large lump sum of gold for the Shadow Fiend to farm up for himself. And now that he has that third point in raise, can do so. Now that his bottle is going to fly out, this will free up a little bit of experience for the Earthshaker. Maybe he soaks in the lane, maybe he soaks at the stack. We'll have to find out. As aggressive as Shadowy's been positioning, he hasn't been able to find very many kills. Not to understate the intel that he's getting from all of these rotations and the pressure that he is applying, knowing where the stacks are and knowing that they've been cleared is very useful for Scary Faces. He now knows that Shadow has raised down that one, but is going to spot out this large camp if he walks over in that direction. We'll see. Looks like he just wants some wards down. Again, this is something that you don't usually get to spot out for a hero other than Bounty Hunter. It's so valuable to have that info. But really what they want is kills, and they're not finding that yet. Beastmaster's Hawk is going to be pinged out as it flies out to spot rotations around this mid area. Maybe that gives them false hope that the camps haven't been warded, but oh, Shadowfiend, I think he knows. He pings right on top of where the ogre walks by. There was once an observer that was spotting ogre around that corner, and he has a pretty good idea of where that's been placed. Again, exceedingly even in the mid lane. 34 and 20 compared to 35 and 11. A slight deny advantage for the Templar Assassin, but I don't think anybody expected anything less. And the Shadowfiend isn't super far behind in experience, and in fact has only just like 20 less than the TA, next to nothing. The Ogre Magi is soaked a little bit more than the Earthshaker. But here's your Ancient stack again being created, up to a quad stack in the Dire Ancients. Nice D-word coming out from the Naga Siren. Should be Aloha Dance, although his name is very misleading. As everything continues much the same way as it has for the first 5 or so minutes of this game. This is going to be a very late first blood, at least for the current metagame where you're seeing so many aggressive dual lanes in the off lanes and so many aggressive heroes in general, but that's just not this game. Clockwork, unless he isolates the Dazzle, probably not going to get first blood, and even then might die in the process. Way too survivable, that Dazzle. As Ogre still just gonna casually swagger his way, but oh, they're going to find the Gyrocopter bottom lane. Rotation in from RMN with the roar from the Beastmaster. That is going to be your first blood. Nice rotation from Scary Faces. Maybe not over yet, as Naga Siren slowed down by that Ignite. Shadow, he really wants to go for this dive, casually tanking tower, but decides it's too much since he doesn't have the backup yet. Beastmaster too low on mana, but he's gonna have a very fast Necrobook. Loa Dance going to bump into Axmo. Axmo doesn't have the mana for those axes, but does have the Boar Slow. Now the Ignite Slow too. Beastmaster going to smack her down. I like to see the safe lane farmers make movements like that and go for those safe lane plays. Slaughter himself doesn't get the first blood. That would have been an ideal situation for Scary Faces, but still is involved in it and doesn't give too much away to the Clockwork in the meantime. Clockwork level 5 compared to a level 7 Beastmaster, canceling his TP. Resolution isn't going to be able to back up in any of the other lanes. He was, maybe trying to get out of there, maybe trying to help this Shadowfiend. Is going to be pursued by a hasted TA, but he has the Earthshaker behind him, and Templar Assassin doesn't have support. The haste isn't going to mean too much. Scary Faces break the silence. But still, Shadowfiend, played by General, is going to be getting a lot of farm, and although they do break the silent by killing Silent, he's farming at a good rate too, especially relative to the Slaughter. Slaughter loses a lot of lane farm in order to be involved for that kill. Still on even footing, I suppose, or close to even footing. The real winner is this Beastmaster is going to have a very fast Necrobook. It's terrifying how much damage Beastmaster can do once you get this Necrobook to level 3 at an early timing window. It's not out of the question that he solo kills the Shadowfiend and the Gyrocopter if they're caught off guard and don't have a TP after the roar. And even with a TP after the roar, it is just that much damage. We have another pause. Things have slowed down a bit. That's too bad. Many doodles on the map. Coming out from Aloha Dance. What's he trying to draw? Maybe I'm just super oblivious. I don't know. We'll leave that there. 2-0. Scary Faces with the early kills do have a slight advantage in golden experience. Or gold, excuse me. Experience advantage is held by Empire. Mostly in the hands, though, of the Shadowfiend and Gyrocopter. Clockwork still having a pretty poor time, but he does have level 6. Clockwork, even though he isn't having nearly as good of an early game as this Beastmaster, who's almost level 8. can still translate into kills with the amount of damage Gyrocopter and Shadow Fiend are able to pump out early. Although they're more than happy just to power farm it through, as they have been for this early game. They're also just fine with getting kills. The real big gold income, however, is going to be in the way of the Templar Assassins soon. Meow's around the corner, has the 2 points up in the side blades, the maxed out refraction, pretty much exactly what you want to be able to take out these ancients. That's so much gold. So much gold. This is, what, a 5 stack? 2 golems, 2 thunder hides, and 1 dragon? Nice. Empire might be able to stop this, though. I'd like to see them make a smoke rotation towards the Templar Assassin and her ancients right about now. This is the expected time for Templar Assassin to make this move. And I definitely think they could stop it. It's so important that they do. If Templar Assassin's allowed to get this, her treads will be done, then she'll be well on her way towards whatever her next item is. The Shadow Fiend for now has a 700 gold advantage, but after these ancients are done, that advantage will be completely gone. And maybe even a slight advantage for the TA, despite general farming a couple of stacks in the meantime. Huh. Well. I love pauses. So much. Hey, it could be worse. It could be American Dota. We've had a lot of delays throughout the GameShow Global Esports Cup in the American region, which is going to be coming up after this best of 5. There's so many games available for the GameShow Global Esports Cup, so we'll keep you posted on when we're going live, and make sure to place your bets at like Dota 2 Lounge, and stay tuned. There's so many good matches. But for now, we're looking at a pause screen. And I don't think anything super exciting outside of this ancient stack is going to be happening in the next couple minutes. The Radiant team's ward emission, oop, that's the Dire. Not incredibly good around the ancient stack of the Templar Assassin. But they are going to recognize that she's missing out of mid lane in just a bit, unless Meow actually doesn't commit for the ancient stack yet. Still, this is something that Empire need to scout out. Maybe throw a rocket flare over that direction, which can make up for their lack of wards. Rocket Flare is such a good tool. Yeah, as far as the item builds for the Shadow Fiend and the Gyrocopter, kind of feels like this game mechanism is really good for the SF. I wouldn't mind him bypassing that, though, and just going for the Sange and Yasha. No matter what, the Shadow Fiend is not going to be super upset with his item build as long as he doesn't go something too crazy. The Shadow Fiend's farming. That's exactly what Shadow Fiend wants to be doing. 0, 0, and 0. Of course, the Earthshaker Shadow Fiend against most matchups might be able to get a couple of kills. Not this case. Templar Assassin is going to start working down those ancients I was talking about. We have a smoke purchased by the Radiant side, flying out in the courier, or at least it's on the courier now. In fact, they have 2. 1 in the clockwork. Looks like he wants to group up. They're throwing that flare, as I was talking about, over towards the ancients. Already a couple of them are being farmed up by the Templar Assassin. They're low, but here comes Gyrocopter. Silent wants to take this, and with Flat Cannon, if they could steal this stack, that is gigantic. Templar Assassin needs some help. She's going to call for backup. The Ogre Magi coming out from the left. Silent is going to be slowed by that trap. The Ignite's going to be dropped. Call down, mostly going to miss. The Roar is going to be thrown onto Silent without any further follow-up immediately. Fisher's going to disengage. Hookshot in. Catches out 2. Requiem thrown out. Shadow and Arman low. The raises. Shadowy's going to be grave, but the Ogre Magi is going to die. Oh, hit by that battery assault, is going to be chased down. Double kill for General, and the ancient stack is still warmed up and ready for them. If they can steal that, it's an amazing amount of farm. Templar Assassin needs that stack, and they're going to be able to farm this up as a team, taking out so many of these large creeps already. They were able to wait out for another Flat Cannon. They'll probably take out at least... looks like they're going to commit for all of them. Maybe they just leave one of the ancient columns, or maybe they just block the camp. Regardless, this is an unmitigated disaster for Scary Faces. Empire get 2 kills, get the ancient stack, and it looks like they might be able to get out. Silent and company are going to not be slowed by Templar Assassin. Just drops that onto the floor. And Fissure? Oh, that doesn't wall her off? Wow. Alright, Templar Assassin, skinny enough to slide through those rocks. Maybe she's a rock climber or something. General will double raise down the creep wave. Fire blasted up. The Shadow Fiend pretty low, but they have the song and might be able to turn this one around. They'll think better of it with the TPs coming in from the Beastmaster in particular. First song of the game saves the Shadow Fiend's life. Can't really ask for much more. Cannot be understated how important that is for Empire. Take a look at the graph. It's such a massive swing in net worth. And experience, too, is now further secured in the favor of Empire. Scary Faces, how do they get back on their feet? The Beastmaster is going to have his completed Necro Book 1 very shortly. But it's really not until you get level 2 and 3 before that becomes the super scary Beastmaster I was mentioning that can get solo kills on the enemy cores. But with a little bit of help from his allies, maybe they can kill off Silent just the same. Jar comes around the corner, long range roar, Ignite is there, Silent has no backup, and this time around they don't have a song. Urshika will TP to the tower. About as fast as he can respond to that, but by the time he gets there it's too late. The Gyrocopter is dead. The second death of the game for the Gyrocopter still is able to maintain a higher net worth position than the Scary Faces Slaughter, mostly by nature of how these heroes function. RMN needs this Blink Dagger before he can start accelerating himself. He needs to get involved in these kills, and that crucial Blink Dagger is going to be coming out soon. Mid lane, the tier 1 tower is going to take quite a bit of damage. The mechanism is up for the Shadow Fiend with a quick double raise down. This creep wave's dead, and Meow's even tagged by one of them. Shadow Fiend has such an advantage over the TA, but bottom lane, Scary Faces are sticking around with the Beastmaster and company. Not going to find anything to kill, though. Clockwork Flare again is going to fly out and is going to scout out everybody. They already had the ward there, too. They know. They know for sure. And they're getting a tier 1 tower in mid, even if they lose this tier 1 bottom. But with TP's back, Clockwork is going to have a little bit longer of a TP, canceling Dazzle's TP. And he's going to get obliterated. Artstyle can't respond, and now a hookshot forward. They catch out Shadowy. Nice angle from this Clockwork. Resolution performing on his offlane for the day. The Fissure is going to wall them off the wrong side, but with the call down with one more shot from the Gyrocopter, that's another 2 kills for Empire. It was General last time to get the double kill. This time it's their Gyrocopter. Empire is splitting up their farm nicely. We do have that Blink Dagger on RMN. Scary Faces want to take this fight if they can. There is no song for 30 seconds. There is no hookshot for 40. And even the call down, about that same timing window. And they're very grouped up. Do they have the follow-up that they need in order to bring this down, though? And now spreading out a little bit more. The best you can hope for now is like a 2-man crush as they're going to net up the Ogre behind the tower. Resolution going to go deep. They're going to get the Battery Assault, pulling him in with the cogs. Resolution is going to be able to catch Shadowy. But with Shallow Grave, Ogre's going to survive for a little while longer. Where's the Slaughter's initiation? They're all pretty low. They have the minus armor applied. The Crush is going to land a Resolution, no fear. But Aximo's isolated. The Rocket Barrage damage. The Beastmaster will survive a little while longer. But the Ogre in the backline's not so much. And it's a double kill with the Riptide of the Naga. Flare will be thrown. Beastmaster will fall. And with him is 2 Necronomicon warriors. Necronomicon warrior and archer. Regardless, 7-4 is our kill score. They lose their Clockwork, but they get so much in return. Net is going to be meld dodged. Nicely done by the Templar Assassin. Not going to save your tier 2 tower, though. Scary Face's fighting potential was not enough to be able to take down the Empire lineup, and they are so farmed. This Gyrocopter is going to have his Yasha 2,000 gold, and his Shadow Fiend, he could pick that up too. But even with the items that they're working with now, they're just fighting more efficiently. And they have that song available too. Empire are looking really strong. The support's also getting so much. Nagastarn looks like she thought about going for a mechanism with her starting items, opening up with those 2 branches. But Aloha Dance could pick up a Blink or something along those lines. Smoked up. They're ready to go. The Shadow Fiend's over towards the left-hand side and won't be able to back them up. The smoke's going to pop. So is Scary Face's smoke. They're going to get the Fissure onto RMN. We'll be able to get off the Crush. Healed up with the Dazzle is going to fight against the Clockwork. Shallow Grave. RMN might be able to kill off Resolution here. Right-click damage is enough with the Templar Assassin. But here comes the Gyrocopter. Here comes the Shadow Fiend. No defensive charges anymore. Double kill for Silent and a killing spree for General. They lose their Clockwork again, but win the fight. And Clockwork, sometimes you are going to die. It doesn't matter when your team's able to take these engagements so convincingly. Huge experience, huge gold swing in their favor as Empire is starting to run away with this game. Tier 2 tower in mid is going to fall. Scary Faces will do their best to split push top, but even the tier 1 isn't dying quickly enough. With the TP's back, can they catch out Axmo? Tier 1 tower is going to be denied as the Gyrocopter and the Shadow Fiend simultaneously get their destructions on the tier 2s in mid and bottom respectively. Scary Faces map is looking really sad. They have a couple TA traps for vision, but no wards. And hardly any towers. At least no towers on the bottom half of the map. What traditionally is a very good Roshan lineup might find it difficult to get into the Roshan pit if they're not able to get vision control around that area. Oh, scary faces. I don't think they have that many smokes left either. They have one. I don't think they have any on their heroes. Maybe I'm wrong. No, they don't have any on their heroes. And they only have one inside stock. Scary faces need to get a pick off sooner. Empire are just going to win the war of attrition by out-farming them massively. This Shadow Fiend has a casual 3,760 gold 16 minutes into the game. And he doesn't need to invest that in anything yet, but if you get like a Butterfly or a Mantis style next on the Shadow Fiend, either of those selections would be awesome, or just anything. Pick an item, any item. You have 4,000 gold, you can go for whatever you want. The Desolator is being worked by the Templar Assassin. This will be a great tool for Scary Faces once they get it, but getting to that is going to be very difficult. Shadow Fiend casually one-shot buys his Sanjanyasha. Fair enough. General's item build is looking very standard, but is a lot faster than you'd usually expect a Shadow Fiend, mostly due to the fact that he's farming very efficiently and accelerating that with tower pushes to boot. Scary Faces have to play as a 5-man group. We have a smoke from the Naga Siren and from the Earthshaker. They're going to find a song initiation. Lohat Dance is going to look for this. They have the full wraparound. Templar Assassin might bump into the Shadow Fiend towards the left-hand side, but they're getting pincered. Do they know it? Naga Siren has the song. They're all going to be slept up if she walks over towards the left. Only 3, and they're not in a good Echo Slam angle. The Requiem, though. Dazzle! Oh my goodness, Aloha Dance gets obliterated. Echo Slam on RMN. They'll chase down the Slaughter R2 as 2 die instantly. That was one of the best song Requiem combos I think I've ever seen. Of course, it's only on a Dazzle, but it's so satisfying to watch heroes die to that Requiem. I'm not sure what it is about it. Maybe I'm just biased towards Shadow Fiend. 12-5, Empire looking strong. And Scary Faces aren't able to control these fights. The Songs of the Siren have been as important as they've needed to be for Empire. And now maybe they themselves can go into the Roshan pit. It's a little bit riskier without having those big AoE teamfight ultimates. And Scary Faces are respawning soon, but they feel like they're far enough ahead to where they can afford to do this. And I think they're probably right. Beastmaster's War is not there. He already used his Necrobooks elsewhere. Or actually, are they on the ground? No, those are just his normal summons. They're smoked up. They know about this. Dazzle Weave is going to be applied, and Empire have to retreat. Roshan is low. Blinked in, Crush. They're going to catch out too. Nice initiation coming out from RMN, but with a beautiful fissure on the backlines. Now the call down. Everything's going terribly for Scary Faces. Ultra kill for Silent. That was about as good as it gets for a Slaughter. You catch a 2-man Crush, that's good, but that counter initiation from No Fear, that was insane. General now has an Aegis of the Immortal, and the items are coming out from them. You do have the Desolator and less than 200 gold for the Templar Assassin, but it feels like it's just going to be too little too late. Empire controlling everything to a T. 16-5. The kills show it, the farm shows it, the graphs show it, and Empire, this is going to be really hard for them to lose. Scary Faces do not have a lineup like Empire's in the last game where their high ground defense is enough to maybe carry them even if they're behind. They have heroes that are best used when they're aggressive. The terrifying nature of that Necrobook 3 only happens if Beastmaster's able to get that level of farm, and only if you have map control, which Scary Faces really don't right now. The biggest issue for them is the fact that they just don't have smokes. For 4 minutes, they're probably not going to be able to leave their base and find those aggressive movements unless Empire overstep their bounds. And that's what Scary Faces need to look for in order to come back for this, or back into this game. With the Slaughter and the Beastmaster, they have pretty good heroes at punishing over-aggression. But they're no longer in the spot where they can go aggressive themselves. This Gyrocopter farms an Ancient Sack. His second Ancient Sack of the game to farm up. This one less impressive than the one on the Dyer's side that was taken, and that really was the big turning point in this game. As impressive as these last couple of fights have been for Empire, and the execution has been on point, it really is taking that Ancient Stack away from the Templar Assassin that's making them so convincingly lead this second game. Clockwork is going to take the Bounty Rune and try to run out towards the north. Resolution has backup though, and the Templar Assassin can't go this deep. They just don't know with certainty where the enemy lineup is. Templar Assassin does put a lot of damage onto this tier 1 tower mid. We'll drop it down to about half, but in the meantime, they've lost a tier 2 top lane, and Empire have everything available. Fighting into the Song of Siren is increasingly one of the hardest things for Scary Faces in this game. If they find a good angle, that good angle could be turned around in just a split second. Aegis is still on the Shadow Fiend, and this is going to be one of the hardest fights for Scary Faces to take. Empire for now repelled. Radiant structures are going to be fortified. Slaughter gets the tower destruction, and the fort is going to be wasted by Empire mostly. If that was Scary Face's clip, that's actually something very important. And they're going to have to use that now. Necrobook 2 is available for the Beastmaster. And oh, the hook shot in. Resolution's going to find that jump. They're going into Shadowy. He's going to get off the Fire Blast. A 2x multicast, but Shadowy's just dropping too low, beyond godlike for the Gyrocopter. Blink Crush. They need to focus down this Naga Siren so she can't get off the song. She's going to end up dying. Nicely done there, but with the Exoslam catching him, doesn't even matter that they get that kill. The Shadow Fiend will lose his Aegis, but Gyrocopter's still going into the enemy base on half HP. They're going to throw out the axes with the minus arm from the Dazzle to do a little bit of damage. Not enough. Buyback from the Dazzle as Empire now are going to focus down the structures. They've gone a little deep. Can Scary Faces punish it? Especially Silent. Sideblade Spill is going to connect. General's just fighting against the Templar Assassin. Defensive charges are down. RMN blinks in with the Crush. Resolution dropping low with the Desolator. It's good, but here's the Fissure. And another great counter initiation coming out from No Fear. They're trying to TP out. Axe Knife onto the Clockwork. Not going to be able to get out alive. No, well-placed axes by Axmo. And he almost does have that Necro 3. Scary Faces hold their barracks, and that is a lot better than I thought they'd be able to do. It is a costly high ground defense, though. The buyback on the Dazzle really isn't something that they want to spend. That, however, does give them a new lease on life, especially the Beastmaster's Necro 3, a big leap in power, and Templar Assassin will get ever closer towards having that magic community up and running. We're seeing the power of the minus armor synergy, even though they are massively behind. Upwards of 17,000 advantage in net worth and 14,000 experience for Empire now. Not an impossible game, but a very hard game for Scary Faces. Empire, now that they've lost this Aegis, are going to have to take things a little bit slower and steady. I really do like the Manta-style pickup on the Gyrocopter over Sanjinyashi this game, though. Purging off the Slaughter Zamp is one of the biggest selling points for this, although Gyrocopter's illusions aren't all that impressive. The Purge is, and is reason enough to buy it over the SNY. Oh, the Shadow Fiend is so fat, and so is the Gyro. Even on top of a Mantis style, he almost is going to have a Butterfly done. And MKB, in theory, would be a great item for Templar Assassin to pick up, but she needs the Magic Community, or else she's just going to get controlled way too hard. Even with the BKB, it's not 100% going to keep her safe. The only good news is they don't have a Blink Dagger on the Surge Shaker for Blink Echo, but they do have a Force Staff, so maybe that's enough in and of itself. No Fear has been on point, especially with the defensive counter initiations. And now opening up onto Axmo. The Beastmaster's in a corner. Clockwork might be able to find an angle. He's way too far away, though. Still walled off for what feels like an eternity. Force Staff away by the Earthshaker as the rest of the team shows up. General's going to swagger behind enemy lines, blinking forward, looking for Axmo. He's dropping so quickly. Shallow Grave. Axmo is going to survive a little while longer. Maybe he's able to get out. The hookshot doesn't connect, but the Song of the Siren clips onto everything. They have a Requiem. They have a call down. They're just going to get wrecked. Oh, Dazzle's destroyed. Oh, I've seen that Requiem on the Dazzle before. This one was a lot less pretty, but it still gets the job done. Now RMN is going to die. Oh, Flare will snipe him. Clockwork gets the kill, and the high ground is not going to be held this time by Scary Faces, I don't think. At least the melee barracks in top is dropping low. His General completely zones him inside the well, pops his own BKB. With the amp damage to Desolator, they're doing a good amount of damage to the Shadow Fiend. But Gyrocopter is now going to be joined by General as he blinks back to the rest of his team as they take down the first set of barracks in this game. Scary Faces, this is looking very close to a 3-0 for Empire. Their execution has just been so tight. Oh, they're going in. The Gyrocopter wanted to purchase up an item. He wanted his Solar Crest from the well. He's not even going to die for that. RMN sprints back into the base and will survive for a while longer to drop out an amp damage. Imp is good, but I don't think it's good enough to bring Scary Faces back into this game. At what point do they call GG? I think Scary Faces have one more fight left in them. Maybe they can hold. Maybe they can delay this for a little while longer. They're going to open up into No Fear, bring down the Earthshaker. Blinking Crush catches out 3. This is the dream scenario for them, but with the buyback on Earthshaker, the dream is not going to be alive for much longer. Axmo's inside the cogs, is going to be able to get off the roar. Onto General with the Meld Strike to bring down the SF. But the Gyrocopter is still untouched. GG. The Clockwork finds a hookshot inside the base, and that is a very well executed game by Empire. It's still impressive how much the minus armor synergy is able to hold Scary Faces in this game, or how long they're able to stay through it. But Empire was stealing that ancient stack and just crisp, clean teamfight execution across the board. 26-10, a very commanding game number 2 victory. Scary Faces are in the blink of the initiation. I guess so. I don't know. Brink of elimination. from the GameShow Global Esports Cup. In this best of 5, whoever wins this best of 5 will be going on to Vilnius for the Studio LAN finals there, and Empire looking strong. On match point, can Scary Faces bring this series back, at the very least to extend it to a Game 4? We'll find out next, here on GameShow_D2EN.